Bobby, are you ready? Okay, well, let's call this February 15, 2022 meeting of the Coos County Board of Commissioners to order. And if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will hold off on public comments until the end of the meeting. So let's start with our first agenda item, which is a request for approval of updated job description, approve for a posting and filling the position from finance and tax. Megan, are you available?
I am. Can you hear me?
I do. Thank you.
So our office has undergone some personnel changes in the last 6 months. As a result, I have lost staff members who are cross-trained in payroll, accounts payable, and accounts receivable. I would like to convert one of the 3 tax accounting specialist positions into a tax accounting specialist 3 position. This position will be responsible for performing fixed assets accounting duties, although all 3 tax accounting specialist staff members have fixed assets in their job descriptions. We have found there is less chance of errors and omissions if one person concentrates on this task, and that is how we have been operating. The tax accounting specialist 3 position will also be trained as backup for a portion of the senior accountant tasks, thereby assuring that our office has full coverage and is fully cross-trained should backup ever be needed, or if we have staff changes in the future. So I'm requesting that the updated job description be approved, and it has been sent to the union, and posting and filling the tax accounting specialist 3 position.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move to approve updated job description, approve posting and filling the tax/accounting 3 position in the finance tax office.
I second that motion. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Hearing none, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion is approved. Mike Rowley, are you available for the second item?
Mr. Chair, was this going to be postponed to a later date?
Yeah, I wanted to tell Mike that to see if he's here.
Is this for me?
Yes, Mike.
Oh, okay.
We'd like to pull this agenda item so we can do some research on your proposal before we consider it. Is that okay with you?
Okay, and which one is that? I don't have an agenda.
B, request approval of job description, approve new pay grade 455, approve posting and filling 2
Okay.
positions. We'd like to learn a little bit more about that before we consider it.
Okay, so what does that mean? When
we-
will we discuss that?
We'll reschedule it for the next Board of Commissioners meeting, please.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Mike. We'll move then on to item 2C, request approval of orders adopting road names, Rosebud Drive and Valley Loop, Planning Department.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
We
Yes.
certainly can.
Okay, so
Good
Jill
morning.
Rolfe, Coos County Planning Director. We have approved 2 new road names, Rosebud Drive and Valley Loop. And it went through the decision process and appeal period, and we're just asking for the board to approve the orders so that they can be included into the road naming system.
Okay, Mr. Chair, move to approve order number 22-02-011 PL in the matter of signing an official road name order establishing the name of Rosebud Drive as approved by the Planning Department, and order number 22-02-012 PL in the matter of assigning an official road name order establishing the name of Valley Loop as approved by the Planning Department.
And I second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion is approved. Item 2D, request approval to waive fees for a brush collection event, solid waste.
Yeah, this is John Rowe.
Thank
We
you.
want to hold our brush event from April 1st to April 30th, like we did last year for free brush and waive the fees. And we want it early enough again so we can burn early because the fire seasons are getting earlier and earlier. So
Okay, we have
Okay,
a
Mr.
motion.
Chair, move to approve solid waste department to waive the fees for the brush collection from April 1st, 2022 through Saturday, April 30th, 2022.
And I second that motion. Discussion? I want to thank John and the Solid Waste Department for keeping this event at an earlier date than we've previously had it because of fire risk. Very thoughtful. So hearing no discussion, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. We'll move on to item 2E, request approval to purchase a used 2013 Mack water truck, road department. John Rowe.
yeah, we're requesting to buy a new or a used water truck. This is the same people we're buying the TAC truck from. So, I mean, we went out for quotes and they still had the lowest price. I mean, it was 79,500 and we added another 5,000 for a hitch and a trash pump so we can fill it faster. So we just found out this morning, we were trying to get this thing loaded with the TAC truck to make one trip to Oregon, and the trailer is overweight. So it's gonna cost us another $3,500 to ship it. So that brings the total up to $88,000, which is still cheaper than the other quotes we got.
All right, do we have a motion?
We have a motion to approve to purchase a used 2013 Mack 4,250 gallon water truck for $88,000 from Maverick Equipment. I should note that the next closest is 96.2, then 98, then 102.82.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I second that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. Thank you, John Rowe. Let's move on to item 2F, request approval of contract with PBS Engineering for a diesel fuel station replacement at the Public Works Department. Paul, I think you were going to handle this. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Doing fine. Thank you.
Okay. So we're looking to hire PBS to help us with the engineering and design for this new diesel tank. Our current one is it's beyond its life. So we want to replace the current underground storage tank with an above ground storage tank. That would include replacing the existing island and roof. And it would also, as part of the replacement, we would roll the diesel exhaust fluid tote tank over under the same roof, so it would all be in line, and which would be a major improvement from what we got. And then eventually we'll decommission the current underground storage tank. This is kind of stage one. Stage two, or phase two, will be the permitting to get rid of the old tank. We're doing this under this cooperative agreement that's in place with Multnomah County.
Okay. Mr. Chair, move to approve and sign contract with PBS for future replacement of our diesel fuel station not to exceed $60,600.
I second that motion. Discussion. Paul, I have a question. Do we have a guesstimate of what the total the final package will be, after permitting and then construction?
Construction, engineering, permitting, everything, it's going to be in the probably $300,000 to $400,000 range total.
Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah,
But now after this, we'll have an above ground storage tank, which removes a lot of potential future liability issues, as you guys are probably already aware of with having an underground tank like we currently do.
Yeah.
So that'll be
Sounds necessary. You guys have done a great job of upgrading your facility there, bringing us into the modern world. So thank you
Yeah,
for
this current tank is very old.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got one comment to go with that.
Thanks, John.
We're gonna line it up better with the gate going out, and we're gonna put the depth tank at the end of the new tank. So it'll be a lot easier to fill up with diesel both directions and fill your depth tank at the same time. So we're gonna do a better alignment on it for everybody.
Thank you. Further discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. Thank you, Paul and John. We'll move on to item 2G. Request approval of resolution authorizing a grant application to Oregon Parks and Recreation District. John Rowe from Parks.
So we're applying for the Laverne Park Trail System, the 2-mile trail on the north side of the Fairview Road. We applied for that under the Recreational Trails Program and didn't get it. So we're applying again for the local government grant program, which they have a lot more money. So got my fingers crossed on this. So this will give me the authorization to sign and authorized the county authorized parks to submit it.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, move to approve and sign resolution 22-02-018B for the county opportunity grant for Laverne Park Trail.
I second that, but I have a question. John Rowe, was it your intent that the Board of Commissioners sign the resolution, or did you want that authority within the Parks Department?
Yes,
Or does it make a difference?
we want the Public Works Director to sign it. So
Okay.
Okay,
that's what we've been doing
Mr.
with
Chair,
all of
I'll
them. So,
modify my,
Sign the resolution giving him authority to sign the grant document.
Oh, okay.
That's-
okay,
Bobby
All right.
clarified that. We have to sign the resolution to give him the authority to do
yeah,
that.
we have to
So that-
sign the resolution.
That's, yeah, got it. Okay, I hadn't read through the resolution carefully enough to pick that up. Thanks, Bobby. So I guess the original motion is appropriate, and we
Right.
have a motion in a second. Further discussion?
no,
Those in favor, please say aye.
no,
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. Thanks, John Rowe.
And for your information, one more thing, John, I just got an email from Oregon State Parks that we did get the paving grant for Riley.
Wow, good news.
We just got awarded it this morning, so
Will that be for the new loop?
that's for the new loop and through the day use area.
Wow.
that's great.
John's has a knack for finding this money and knowing what's out there and write good grants. So John, thank you so much. Okay, on to 2H, request approval of contract for self-service kayak / paddleboard rental program and authorize chair to sign, adopt sole source findings, Parks. And back to you, John Rowe.
Okay. This company is Rent.Fund. I mean, they're just starting this kayak and paddleboard rental stuff on the West Coast. It's already on the East Coast. In Oregon and on the West Coast, they already have a bicycle rental established in the larger cities. So this is kind of a trial program. They came to both us and Julie Miller for Travel Southern Oregon Coast to see if we'd be willing to try this. So, you know, the county would not be responsible for any maintenance, any replacement. They take care of all that. We pay an additional $19,750, and for the first 2 years, that $19,000 has got to be split. It's not written here, but it's $16,000 for the locker, and it's $3,750 for shipping. We don't get the shipping money back, but in the first 2 years, we get 80% of the proceeds, and as soon as we get the $16,000 paid back to us, then we'll receive 20% of the revenue. So the only cost to us is the $3,750 for shipping. And they said it usually takes about a year to a year and a half, usually to get that money back by rentals. So we got a place we can put it. It's right above, as the picture, attached picture. It's right above the gangway to the kayak launch that we have, a concrete pad where the gazebo was. So we'll put it there and we'll move that concrete picnic table over and then put it back. So we still have sitting in the same spot. So I think it'd be a good idea. I mean, a lot of people don't have kayaks and we have the kayak facility. So this will give people an opportunity to rent a kayak or a paddleboard and go out on the 10-mile lake.
It'll complement your kayak launch very nicely too, I would think, John.
Yes, I think it'd be just right. And then if this succeeds for us, Julie Miller said they'll put one at Eel Lake also.
Wow. Cool. And we need to give credit to Commissioner Cribbins. I think she's the one that found this company. She's a pretty avid kayaker, and so knew some things the rest of us didn't. And John and Parks are pretty excited about it. So do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, authorize chair to sign contract with Rent.Fun LLC and authorize spending authority for the activation fee, shipping and installation fees listed in Schedule C in the amount of $19,750 and approved sole source findings.
I second the motion. Discussion.
Is there a term on this? What happens if it doesn't work out? What, or we have to ship it back? What?
No, this is a one-time shipping fee. If it doesn't work out, they'll take care of all, they'll just take it back, so.
That's in part of the contract because I don't have a copy of the contract.
I don't either have the copy of it. In Schedule C, the information we do have, it does show our county obligations, and the total compensation is the $19,750. No further obligations on the part of the county mentioned.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, before we approve, I really, again, want to thank John and Parks for stepping out of the norm and going an extra mile to make sure that the people that use our parks have the facilities and the equipment that allows them to fully appreciate the park. So with that, I call for a vote. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion approved.
Hey, Bob, one comment. In item 6 of the contract termination, it says if we cancel this, the operator shall collect and remove all equipment or items located on county premises within 30 days.
Okay.
So that they'll just come and get it.
All righty.
All right. Item 2J, request approval of law enforcement agreement with the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Mr. Chair, I think you skipped. We got to go back to I.
I beg your pardon, did we do? Okay, 2I, request approval of law enforcement agreement with the U.S. Department of Ag.
Captain Fabrizio is in my office. He'll explain.
Thank you. Morning, Captain.
Thank you. Good morning. So this is a cooperative law enforcement agreement with the Department of Agriculture, SIUS Law, and Siskiyou National Forest. It's part of our dunes contracts, one of our dunes positions, which is for the entirety of the calendar year for 22, and provides a reimbursement funding, at least in partial, for this one in the amounts of $20,240 from SIUS Law and $8,360 from Siskiyou for a total of $28,600. So we're just asking the board to accept the agreement and approve and sign.
So, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agreement with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Sheriff's Office, in the total amount of $28,600.
Second, discussion. I assume this goes to help pay for our dunes deputies. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, sir.
Thank you. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. Now we'll go to 2J. Request approval of resolution to reclassify evidence/property custodian and civil records clerk positions. Sheriff,
So I'll take this too, if that's okay.
please.
Actually, this J and K are both part of the same inter-office moves, which we're trying to do. And basically what it is, it's combining a couple of duty positions. Other counties is where we got the idea. Other counties employ the same methodology. In this circumstance, it's the records clerk and it's a position for one of the communications supervisors. What it does is it frees up some resources and allows us to, one, fund what is position J, which is a reclassification from 502 to 517 in our TATS policy for 3 positions in the front office, the 2 records and what Cindy Kate is currently doing, the civil records clerk, as well as position K, and in the future, which is not on here because it's not created yet, a new position. And all of that without any extra burden on the general fund. It'll all actually come in slightly under what we're currently funded for. It's a little bit cheaper. So in this case, for item J, it'll reclassify the positions currently held by Heather, Chris, and Cindy from 502 to 517, giving them a slight pay raise.
Okay, Mr. Chair, move to approve the adjusted pay rate 502 to 517 as of February 1 of 22 for evidence/property custodian and civil record clerk.
I second the motion. Discussion.
That's all one position, I assume, all those items, all those evidence, property custodian, and civil records is a position?
They're each position, yes, sir.
Although, so they're each position,
Yes,
okay.
it's 3 positions, yes, sir.
The 3 positions, all right. I thought it was one, but it's 3 separate positions.
All
I
right.
think you need to say the resolution number.
Resolution 22-02-023P.
And I second the motion. Further discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Right?
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. 2K, request approval of revised job description and a resolution to reclass the communication supervisor position. Again, Captain Trevizio.
Yes, sir. This is the main crux of the inter-office moves, and the idea to, one, provide for better communication and also provide better control. Thanks, sir. Move over a little, sorry.
No, there you go.
And to create efficiencies. Again, doing this allows us to free up resources to reclass those 3 we just talked about and in the future create another position. That's about it.
Okay, I move to approve resolution 22-01-017P, reclassify 1 dispatcher supervisor position to security records clerk / dispatch supervisor.
Second the motion. Discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion approved. Item 2L, request approval of amendment number 2, the coronavirus emergency supplemental funding agreement, and authorize chair to sign. Community corrections. Kelly or Mike, are you there?
Mike Krim is signed on.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Krim.
Oh, there we are. Morning, Mike.
Which item was that again, sir?
Item L.
The SAFE project or the Kids Home?
Emergency fund.
Emergency funding, amendment number 2.
Yeah, I don't have the item in front of me.
Okay, I'll take it here if I can. The idea here, or this is approval of a Criminal Justice Commissioner Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Agreement, CEF-20-04, Amendment number 2, extending the contract to January 30, 2023, and allowing, the request is to allow the chair to sign, and the amount of the supplemental award is $76,837.
I second.
Okay, I guess I
Assuming
should
that-
say I got into a motion. Now you've seconded it. Is there discussion? Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion approved. Now we'll go on to the SAFE project. Item 2M, request approval of contract with SAFE Project Community Corrections.
Yes. Here to ask the board for approval of the SAFE project contract for 21-22 Justice Reinvestment Grant. This is for the community-based victim services piece of the Justice Reinvestment Grant. This will pay for a .50 full-time employee sexual assault court advocate from 7/1/21 to 6/30/22. Cost is $21,819.78. Funding source is the state of Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. Ask the board to approve the SAFE project contract 21-22 Justice Reinvestment Contract Victim Sexual Assault Court Advocate in the amount of $21,819.78.
we
Okay,
have a
Mr.
motion?
Chair, move to approve SAFE project contract 21-22. Justice Reinvestment Grant contract for victims sexual assault court advocate in amount of $21,819.78.
I second the motion. Discussion? Those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion approved. Oh, sorry. Motion to say aye faster, Bob. Motion approved. Item 2N, request approval of contract with the Kids Hope Center Community Corrections.
Yes, ask the board to approve the contract with the Kids Hope Center for 21-22, again from the Justice Reinvestment Grant for victim services. This pays for a half-time, full-time employee, child and family victim advocate from 7/1/21, 6/30/22. The amount $21,819.72. Funding source, State of Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. Ask the board to approve the Kids Hope contract for 21-22 Justice Reinvestment Grant for victim services, $21,819.72.
Mr. Chair, move to approve Kids Hope Center contract through 21-22 Justice Reinvestment Grant contract for victim services in the amount of $21,819.72.
And I second the motion. Discussion?
Just kind of an oddity, the last one and this one, there's 6 cents difference. I don't know why they weren't the same.
Yeah, when we split it, that's where we came out.
Okay.
Must favor one over the other quite a bit to get. Mike, I'm really pleased that we're supporting the Kids Hope Center. The work they do is so much needed, and it's actually almost a disgrace. It is a disgrace to this county that
Yeah.
there are so many children that go through that center. These are abused and neglected children, a lot of sex abuse. They have 300 or more kids that they take care of each year. It's tragic that there's that much of that type of activity going on. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion approved. 2N, request approval of order authorizing sale of real property and delegating signing authority. County Council.
Good morning. So this is order 22-01-007L. It approves the sale of approximately 124 acres of land located at 0 Lampa Lane for $300,000. The property is identified by Coos County tax account numbers 930-702, 930-703, and 930-900. The order also delegates signing authority to complete the transaction, and that's to the county forester as well as any of the members of the board, just depending on availability, so that whenever the closing date may be, there'll be someone who can sign those documents.
Okay, Mr. Chair, move to approve order 22-01-007L, authorizing sale of real property and delegating signing authority to complete the transaction.
I second that motion. Any discussion?
You know,
Those in
I
favor?
guess I
please
should
say
say
aye.
we've tried to sell this for years and
Yeah.
we've had multiple offers substantially less than this, and this is the best offer we've had.
Yep.
And it has a lot of constraints on this property besides.
Okay, those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Right?
Aye. Those opposed? Motion approved. And our last item on the agenda is a request for approval of resolution amending Chapter 3 of the Coos County Rules. And back to County Council.
So I've been approached a number of times by various individuals who work for the county about the social media policy, and the social media policy governs the county's use of social media, and there are specific categories which allow removal of content that people post on our page. Those categories have to be neutral to people's viewpoints, but we do have the ability to regulate a limited public forum in a way that in a reasonable way. So I looked at some of the concerns and I came up with potential new language that I did find in a number of other social media policies as well, with regard to what we call spamming, which is basically someone just posting the same thing over and over again on the same post. That's something people would like to be able to remove, and we have to follow our rules when we remove it. The other one was essentially people insulting one another, bullying and harassment, which would be something that people who monitor this would like to take off of comments on our posts. So that's what the changes would be if this resolution is approved.
Was there a third item there that says that the submission of a comment constitutes acceptance of our social media policy? Was that already in there?
Yeah, so that's in addition as well. So what that does is we on social media pages, we have to post our social media policy in an area where people can click on it and it's clearly to be seen. So if you go to, for example, Coos Health and Wellness page, there'll be a link to it, and so this basically is to be posted in a place where people can see it, and it says that if you're submitting a comment, then you're agreeing to these content viewpoint neutral restrictions on comments.
So I have a question. I didn't see, maybe I missed it. Who monitors this policy?
So there are a few departments I think that have social media pages, and then each department has delegated within that department who monitors their social media account. They will sometimes send me things if they have questions about whether comments violate the policy, but they also have the ability to remove themselves things from the site. And I'm not sure exactly who in each department has that authority.
Is there some sort of appeal if the appealing party doesn't agree with who's ever monitoring the site?
There is not an appeals process, no.
Should we think about that?
I can certainly think about it. I don't think that I've seen it in any other policy, which isn't necessarily an answer of whether it's a good idea or not, but just throwing that out there.
Well, I was just thinking, one person's disapproval in a certain department may not coincide with the board's wishes.
Right. It's something I can look at. One of my concerns would be just sort of what that would look like. My understanding is that if someone, makes a profane comment on a social media post, that, under our rules that would be removed and we would document that it was removed, but the person wouldn't necessarily have a notification that happened. And I would be kind of leery of, sending someone a private message every time we removed a profane comment saying, we removed your profane Facebook post and now you have a chance to appeal that. It could result in a lot of unnecessary scrutiny of those. But I understand what you're saying, because people might think I was unfairly removed.
There may be some unrealized by the person removing the post, some type of bias. So that's all I was thinking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to think so, but who knows?
Nat, would it be okay for us to go ahead and consider this resolution that you've currently prepared and come back to us, and have you come back to us later if you decide that's necessary to add more?
Yeah, that would be fine as far as I'm concerned. But
The reason I brought it up is many of the commercial social media pages eliminate postings for various reasons, including what it appears to be political rather than factual. And so I was just wondering about our particular page and our content.
yeah, and that's another thing to keep in mind too, is that when we have social media, this policy will govern sort of what we manually remove. But if Facebook decides that a post on Facebook could even potentially remove our own posts, because every post that's made on Facebook could be removed by Facebook, without our knowledge or consent. So
A lot of things to consider.
Yeah. Commissioner Main, are you content with approving the resolution?
So far, I think we need further discussion about what happens if somebody gets removed for whatever reason.
I'm sorry, I couldn't pick up everything you said.
I got this mask on, I'm sorry. I'm okay with this particular resolution. Just thinking about in the future, what happens if somebody gets removed and they have nowhere to voice their displeasure about being removed and what their reasons are for their displeasure.
I think that's a good,
that sort of thing.
thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that up.
And with that, Mr. Chair, approve resolution 22-01-016L, amending chapter 3 of the Coos County rules.
Second, discussion. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion approved. Nat, thanks for putting this together. Next on our
Thank you,
agenda
Nat.
is consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar, Mr. Chair.
Second that motion. Discussion. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion approved. We have no late agenda items. However, we do have one last minute item that we'd like to consider. So we need to have approval for what we call a late agenda item.
Mr. Chair, move to amend a late agenda item.
I second that. Discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it has been approved that we take into consideration a last minute agenda item. This agenda item has to do with a 1.2 billion grant that the Oregon Transportation Commission will receive from the federal government, and they need to decide on how to spend that, whether they keep that to be used solely within the Oregon Department of Transportation, or whether they would share part of that $1.2 billion with counties and local governments. Our interest, of course, is that we get a share of that money because we and other counties and other local governments have a lot of transportation projects of our own to fund. So we have prepared a letter to the Oregon Transportation Commission asking them to not give the entirety of that money to ODOT, but to share it with the counties. So I would entertain a motion for approval of this letter to the Oregon Transportation Commission.
Mr. Chair, move to approve a letter to the Oregon Transportation Commission regarding the disbursement of funds of $1.2 billion, of which some could be shared by the counties of Oregon. Apparently now, well, I'll stop there and we can for discussion.
And I second that motion. Further discussion.
Okay, so far it appears that the state of Oregon wants to retain the entire 1.2 billion within the state and not dispersed to the counties. That's where
That's what this letter is about. It will encourage them to not keep that all to themselves and instead to share it with the counties. So those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion is approved. And with that, we have completed actions called for on our agenda, except for citizen comments and commissioners' reports. Do we have anyone on the line today wishing to make a citizen comment?
But would you tell them to raise their hand
Okay,
virtually if they want to?
thank you. Yes, we're not seeing that anyone is wishing to make comments. If you do, if there is someone wanting to speak, would you please raise your hand virtually?
Again, Commissioner Sweet, I have a gentleman here who would like to make a comment. He's watching on in the law library, and I can have him comment from my my workstation here, if that's all right.
Who is that?
It's sorry, I'm blanking. I'll let him.
Because who I think it is not a gentleman. Is it Don Gurney?
No, it's Phil. I forget his last name.
Oh, well, then he likely is a gentleman. So yes, please, sir, feel free to present your concerns to the county commissioners.
My apologies. There was a miscommunication. He was adamant that he, in fact, does not want to speak. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then with that, seeing no one else wishing to make public comment, Bob, do you have, Commissioner, anything you'd like to report? What you've done in the last 2 weeks besides get well?
We had lots of fun. We had virus for 2 weeks and then a 4-way root canal and lots of fun. What's coming up though, I'd like to talk about on the 25th. There's going to be an ONC board meeting, of which I'm the vice president of the Western Oregon counties. We're going to talk about the appeal of our twice won lawsuit against the Department of Interior / BLM on the ONC forest. It is now going on to the U.S. Court of Appeals. Also on that same Friday, BOM is going to have a webinar from 9 to 3. BOM is being the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, which I sit on, along with David Yamamoto from Tillamook County as the two coastal county representatives for Oregon. They are talking about establishing a wind farm of approximately 540 square miles off the south coast of Coos and the north coast of Curry counties out in the Pacific Ocean. As you may know, our state representative, local state representative, David Bright-Smith, got a bill passed in the Oregon legislature and the governor signed to promote that. The thing that bothers me the most after having a discussion with RWE, which is the second largest wind energy company in the world based in Germany, was that there's a discussion about this thing called feed-in tariff, But presently, the only two ocean wind-based wind farms in the United States are off the coast of Virginia and Rhode Island. The promoters, financiers of those two projects went to the respective legislatures of those two states and got passed what is called feed-in tariff, which means that if anything goes wrong with the project, and this project is in the billions of dollars, the investors are made whole by the ratepayers. Can you imagine that? So it's a no loss for the investors. I can't quite see how that is fair to the ratepayers when you go and make an investment of your money. Hopefully it goes well, but if it doesn't, it's on you rather than somebody else. So that really doesn't look very well, very good to me. And I hope it does not come up in our Oregon legislature. And I hope then whoever the governor is would not sign that bill, but make the investors solely responsible for the project. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief so we can get about our day. There's been a lot of time spent of late by the counties and AOC monitoring what is going on during the short term of the state legislature. That the short term concept was decided on several years back. Prior to that, they had the legislature was only in session every other year. They decided to have a short session so they could clean up things like unintended consequences of bills that they passed during the regular session. It seems as though the legislature has forgotten what this was all about, and they are entertaining bills that are have significant more impact than originally thought would be bills would be considered in the short session. One of the bills that's being considered this session is called the Private Forest Accord. It's a sound idea, I believe. It was put together over a 2-year series of meetings among major timberland owners and a lot of the conservation groups, so that going forward, people could invest in timber and be assured that the Oregon Forest Practices Act wouldn't be changed in a way that it would impede harvest of timber and deterioration of the return on investment. Unfortunately, the discussions were kind of held behind closed doors. There was one representative of small timberland owners there, but he was not allowed, I understand, to discuss with the multitude of small timber owners throughout the state what was being agreed to. And some of our small timber owners were very surprised of some of the restrictions that the Private Forest Accord puts upon the ownership, particularly the harvest of small timber lands. So we've spent a good deal of time protesting that and trying to allow the small timberland owners to either opt in or opt out, or at the very least have more say about what would happen. And the idea was perhaps this could be delayed until the full session of the legislature, but not this year. That has not happened. It has been pushed ahead, and it does look like it will pass, but it's unfortunate. I think the intent is good, but I think the impact, we have an impact on a lot of small timberland owners who have not had a voice in analyzing this piece of legislation.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I might add that for everybody that's viewing, that is Senate Bill 1501 and 1502, if they want to go look it up. And in my personal opinion, it's to the detriment of the small woodland owners. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Moving ahead quick, I'm just sorry I got wound up in that. We had our forestry department has been working with the Coquille school system to have students go out annually and engage in planting trees in our county forest. And at the end of the tree planting effort, we serve hot dogs. I'm not sure we didn't give away more hot dogs than we got trees planted, but everyone looked like everyone was having a good time, and the kids are out there working hard and helping replant our county forest harvested areas. Let me think. I met with the Coos Watershed Association. I'm a member of their board. We have a very active watershed association, not only for the Coos Basin, but also for the Coquille Basin and the 10 Mile Lake Basin. Very fortunate to have work of that caliber going on in our county. It was reported that coho returns in the Coos Basin were very strong this year. Not so with the Chinook returns, but coho has been listed as an endangered species, and it appears that we're working towards bringing that species back. Met with Steve McCarty, who is the sponsor of an event called the UTV Takeover, which is scheduled for our dunes in latter part of June, I believe. I think they sold out one day in 5 minutes, all the slots that they had available. So many people were interested in doing it, it crashed their computer system. Other than that, again, just pretty much back to reviewing legislation and commenting on that. There was some legislation to do with predator control districts. Our county kind of pioneered formation by our cattle people, sheep people, livestock people, and our forest people to pay for their own predator control district. The legislature subsequently made that illegal. There's a good number of people, particularly in more urban areas, that are so against predator control that they got that disapproved, unfortunately. So we haven't done too well in winning legislation that is, or opposing legislation that is detrimental to rural areas during this legislative session. And so with that,
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir, Mr.
I do have a comment back on your county forest planning by the school kids.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember being at North Bend Junior High and going out somewhere by Beaver Hill and planting trees. I still remember that like it was yesterday. And we had hot dogs, and I should also maybe give you a thought that we also had small cups of ice cream and a drink for the future.
I understand we've had 2 40-year harvest rotations since the time you planted those trees.
Well, they did well, didn't they?
Yes, so, and with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for listening in and attending. Bye-bye.